It's Thursday. After a quiet Wednesday in Bethany, Jesus sends his disciples to prepare for the Passover supper. The Passover was one of the most important celebrations in Israel's history because it commemorated the great redemption God accomplished in Israel's exodus from Egypt. God himself commanded that Israel must keep the Passover to remember what he had done for them and that their deliverance had come because of the death of an innocent, spotless sacrifice. It was a reminder that God's people live because a sacrifice had been slain on their behalf. The symbolic sacrifice of the Passover lamb sets the tone of Jesus' Last Supper before his death. As he sat at the table with his disciples, he foretold that one of them, a close friend, would betray him. He then took the bread, blessed it, broke it, and told his disciples, "Take, eat, this is my body." As with the original Passover, eating the symbolic meal was a way of accepting that the sacrifice was given on your behalf, is a way of acknowledging that it was done sacrificially for you. When God's people ate the lamb, it was like saying, "This lamb died for me so that I could live." In the same way, eating the bread that symbolized Jesus' body meant accepting the truth that his body was given for us. Jesus then took the cup and blessed it, and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Drink of it, all of you, for this is the blood of my covenant, which is poured out for the many for the forgiveness of sin." By talking about his own soon-to-be spilt blood as the blood of the covenant, Jesus hints that his death will be the ultimate fulfillment of all the covenant sacrifices that preceded him. If you go back to the Old Testament, you'll find that most of the covenants involved bloodshed when they were made. This is why the ancient Hebrews referred to it as cutting a covenant, not making a covenant. Covenants were ratified by spilling blood. When God made a covenant with Abraham in Genesis 15 and 22, a sacrifice was made. When Moses helped mediate the covenant at Sinai in Exodus 24, he did so by sprinkling the blood of an atonement sacrifice on the people, proclaiming, "Behold, the blood of the covenant." These covenant sacrifices were meant to display the truth that is spelled out in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 22. Indeed, under the law, almost everything is purified with blood, and without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. In giving the wine a new symbolism, Jesus proclaims that the shedding of his blood will provide forgiveness for sin and bring people into a new covenant relationship with God. It's not just that Jesus was reinterpreting the Passover meal. He was fulfilling it. In this meal, Jesus was proclaiming to his people that a greater exodus was coming. A greater covenant than Sinai was being offered, and all because of a greater Passover lamb who would be slain. We celebrate that reality every time we participate the Lord's Supper. We have been set free because, as Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed, and now we can celebrate and feast. Before we move on from Thursday's Passover feast, we shouldn't miss the subtle glimpse Jesus gives of the future. As the cup is being passed around, Jesus refrains from drinking and explains, "I tell you, I will not drink again of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." Pay careful attention to the end of that statement. One day, Jesus will drink wine and feast with his people in the Father's kingdom. His death would prepare the way so that we could gather at his table in his Father's kingdom. We on this side of the cross look forward to that great day when we will raise our wine glasses in communion with our covenant King, the great Passover Lamb.